35分です。了解です。
会場からのご連絡です。この部屋のハッシュタグは PyConJP アンスコ C なので、ぜひツイートしていただければと思います。じゃあそれでは時間になりましたので始めさせていただきます。次のトークは広木清原さんによる How We Realize SOA by Python です。どうぞよろしくお願いします。大きな拍手をお願いいたします。
Can you listen me? Thanks for coming and thanks for this great opportunity for staffs and for all. Today I'm really exciting and a little bit nervous, but I'm really exciting to reveal for our experience for you. I'll talk about SOA by Python. So For this talk, you can use this hashtag to tweet PyConJP_C. So you will see your tweet on this slide. Does anyone? Hello? Yeah, nice, thank you. So enjoy the slide and on your tweet. So first, SOA. What is the SOA? SOA is a service-oriented architecture. I'll show you SOA, service-oriented architecture. Someone says it as a microservices. And what SOA? SOA is approach to create system to separate each function to small servers, small services. So something like this. The left side is the legacy application. The legacy web apps handle all of functions by one app. But SOA is approach to separate it into small servers, small services. Basically, it's created as a REST API servers. And it's a nice example in real life. It's the Amazon, you know. And each things you can see, for example, histories, reviews, and the purchase or so is created as each small microservices. So is the SOA a copy? Yes, I think so. We created the service as the SOA, and it's comfy, but it's not silver bullet. There is no silver bullet. Why? Why not silver bullet? The plot is the separated responsibilities, and rapidly you can integrate rapidly, and you can scale each services frequently, flexibly. By monolithic apps, you can't make, or it's difficult to separate or scale flexibly. But with SOA, it's not so difficult. But it can't. There are a lot of servers to manage, to create, of course, to test, and to deploy, and to monitor. Can't realize SOA with legacy style. So, for example, direct transmitting, or manual deploying, or manual test. Someone may be creating up something like this, human-to-human transmitting, or manually things. It takes a lot of costs, and you can't realize this style. So how we realize SOA? So today you can run case study of SOA by Python, our case, and practice it to manage a lot of servers. And today you can't run. I'm sorry, but you can't run about the step-by-step guide or so much Python's core. So this is a agenda we are now about here, and you can run about our cases and each section and its summary. I'll show you 4 nice things about each section. For example, creating, testing, developing, deploying, monitoring. So who am I? I am the Hiroki Kiyohara, and I work for the Be Proud. I'm a developer, and sometimes I'm consulting or training, and admin of django-project.jp, the portal site for Django in Japan. And who we're? I work for Be Proud, but now I work with Nikkei, one of the biggest newspaper company, and there's over 400,000 paid users on the web, and right 1 million people registered user. I don't remember, but a lot of users there, and now migrating to in-house production. So let's talk about our case. The first, I'll show you our architecture. So basically, we separate servers for each function. Of course, it's SOA. So we separated each function, but we made the API gateway, the central rectangle, that API gateway, So we made it to access backend servers more easily and handle permissions. And each server talk with REST API, HTTP. And backend inner services were separated, totally separated from the web. So it's really safety, and you can create inner services so really lazy or something fuzzy, but API gateway made it secure. So API gateway is a proxy for backend servers and handling permissions. Okay, so how we created these servers? There's lots of servers and services. So with SOA, you need to create many servers as fast as you can. Many repositories, many GitHub repositories. They take cost to launch, fast launching, make it easy to launch. And we need shared docs. We use Django. It's easy to create, and there's many Django libraries, and there's really big community and the knowledge is on web, for example, Stack Overflow and the blogs, Kita, and so on. So we use Django. I don't want to talk about so much Django. Maybe you know already. So, and we use the Django REST framework on Django. It's not a library. It's not just a library. It's framework to create REST APIs. It's framework on Django, framework on framework to create REST APIs. So there's many useful modules, and there is a smart authentication and the authorization framework. But I can talk about all of Django REST framework here, so I'll talk about the Serializer, one of the components of the Django REST framework. And it's like a Django's form, but it's created for REST API. So you can handle nested or array objects. Basically, you maybe put or post nested array of JSON strings for a REST API, but you can't validate that value by a Django's form easily, right? But with REST APIs, Serializer can handle those things. Just you write something like form, Serializer, and you just use like a form. You can validate that nested and array of objects, JSON string, or no, dictionary. So of course, it's sample. It's just one piece of the REST framework. So there's a lot of goodies. If you think to create API, check it out. Check REST API and REST framework. So to create apps, we know about the Django and Django REST framework, but we need to start the repositories as soon as we can. There's a lot of best practice. We need to share a lot of settings, and we need a lot of things. So use Cookie Cutter. It's a tool to create repositories by template to create apps as soon as we can. So this is a template of Cookie Cutter, and it's our template. There are a lot of settings for basic Docker file and the talks.ini. It tests for the settings and the requirements file and well-considered Django's project basics, and so on. And by using a Cookie Cutter, you can launch the repository with this template, and you can specify the variables from interactive interface. It's really nice. Of course, you can Django's project template, but Django's project template is basically for Django's project, but Cookie Cutter is more and more comfy for repositories. Okay, so created. But we need shared docs. Many of people creating the each separated servers, each services. So how can I use this? We need to share docs. So we use django-rest-swagger. It's the library of the Django-rest framework, and it creates a demo-able API docs from docstring of the Python. So you can see the list of the API. For example, it's one of the Swagger API documentation, and you can use directory. It's demo-able. So and each API is demo-able. So you shouldn't know about so much, and you just type from here, and you can try the APIs. And of course, you can create it from docstrings. It's really nice. Okay, this is summary. We creating services by Django and Django REST frameworks, and also using a cookie cutter and Tox, and Django REST Swagger. And okay, created, but we need to test them. So we need handy unit tests, and also E2E testing. So I know you don't want to run the heavy tests, right? Yes, me too. I don't want to run, and I won't run heavy tests. So you need to make it easy to run. Complex or slow or useless tests is ignoring. We don't want to create the messy code. Okay, so first you need to set up by the Django settings to tuning Django settings. Use the memory SQLite, on-memory SQLite as a database, test database, and dummy the local cache, dummy for local cache, and use a right hasher, for example, MD5 and so on. You can run these practices by 2 scoops of Django. It's a really nice books you can buy. And use nice tools. I really love the Tox, and really love the Frigate. Tox is awesome, phenomenal. It's really great tool. It's to wrap a lot of tests and commands. So if you want to run the test, you just type tox, just something like that. Of course, you can make file, but Tox created the virtual envs for each test envs. So this is our Tox-ini. Tox-ini is the settings for the Tox, and there's a lot of settings. For example, installing dependencies and specifying the settings for tests, and running tests with coverage, of course. And on another test, we run the static analysis. It's just by typing Tox. It's so easy. So to run all of unit tests, taking a coverage, taking static analytics, you need to type a lot of things, Python manage, PyTest, or coverage run, blah, blah, blah. It's messy. Just type Tox. So, and Frigate. Frigate is also awesome too. It's code style checker and static analyzing. So basically, I don't want to review about syntax. Hey, its syntax is a little bit difficult from the PEP8, and you need to remove these importing lines because it's not necessary. I don't want to review something like messy things. It's Frigate's job. And remove tiny and messy code bugs to improve your development. Of course, these things runs on the Tox, and you can refer these nice libraries responses is a mocking library for the request, and the test fixtures is the utilities for the text, and the factory boy is make it easy to create the data fixtures. Use nice tools and reduce the cost run the test. Of course, it's not just talking about the tools. You don't accessing outer services or starting and connecting middlewares like real Redis or MySQL basically. You need to totally separate it. You need to be separated. And we also run the E2E testing by a request. There's a lot of APIs, so we need to check the connection of these things. These tests will be run on the development environment. And also we use Locust.io. It's raw test tool for the Python by Python. And it's really handy to write the test by Python, and it can be a distributed tests. Okay, so this is summary for the testing. First, the Django settings, and you should use the stocks, and you should use the predicate or so. Okay, so you learned about a lot of best practices, maybe. So it's time to deploy. You created services, really fasting, but you need to deploy. Okay, so basically the legacy style deploying is really messy and not so interesting. So reduce cost to deploy. Don't deploy manually and don't test manually. There are a lot of servers in SOA. If you want to create application by SOA, service-oriented architecture, you need to a lot of services. So you can't manually deploying each services. A lot of services, for example, 5 or 6 or 7, 8, lots of services. So make the structure, make system for the auto deploying. We created a basic system to deploy, automatically deploying from CI tool. Here, this is our hero. There, we love those heroes. And first, GitHub detect the master pushing and hooking to the Circle CI. Hey, deploy it. And okay, the test became a green. So then Circle CI build the Docker image and push it to the Docker Hub. Push it. And then Circle CI says the Elastic Beanstalk of the AWS, hey, deploy it. And then Elastic Beanstalk pulls the Docker image and deploy it. It's our automated master deploying system. So also you can deploy from the CLI or web console. If you use Elastic Beanstalk, you can just type ep deploy or through the web from the AWS console. It's really comfy and easy to deploy. So there's a heroes. GitHub, we are using GitHub and Circle CI and Docker Hub and Elastic Beanstalk. Okay, deployed. And the final section is a little bit similar with the keynote. And you have a lot of servers to monitor. Basically, there are a lot of servers on SOA. So you need to run to monitor many services. And each server created for immutable infrastructure. So Docker basically don't have any state, logs, files, and so on. And this is our solution. We use Sentry, and we use New Relic. And to collect the logs, we use a FluentD. And to run the batch jobs using the by using the run deck. And all of alerts, all of notifications will be sent to Slack. It's a best chatting tool for your job. It's really nice, and you can detect all of notifications from the web, from the Slack. Okay, I thought I want to talk about Sentry, and it's a real phenomenal tool, but the nice, great keynotes speak about this tool, so I'll skip it out. Okay, so, and we use Fluently to collect the access logs or action logs. So, not log stash. And by collecting the Fluently to send to the S3 of the AWS and the BigQuery of the Google Cloud Platform. Then we use the uWhisky, and the directory uWhisky send the logs to the Fluentd daemon, and the Fluentd daemon send the logs to the aggregation Fluentd, and the aggregated logs to send S3 and the BigQuery. So we don't use any file logs. So New Relic is also really great, and it can monitor the resources of containers, each Docker containers, and also have APM. It's awesome. New Relic is not just a T-shirt company. So the APM is can analyze the Python applications. It can also the Ruby or something, but also Python too. So on your server, which progress is slow? Maybe you want to know about this analyzing. So it can. New Relic APM can detect. So it says that the Python code takes 2 milliseconds, and it takes MySQL. Accessing the MySQL is taking about 1 millisecond, and so on. So you don't have to analyze your code by Python's proxy. I don't know. So finally, I'll show you about the run deck. It's a job scheduler, and easy to say it's better cron D. It can handle and it can configure jobs through the web. So, and we can check the jobs, run jobs, basically the shell command or shell script or so, and you can refer the histories from the web. So, I talked about the monitoring. We use Sentry and Fluentd and New Relic and Rundeck. Of course, you can use with these tools with Python. So Sentry is have the logging handler for the Python, and no, you can send logs to the Fluentd directory, and you can use the Whiskey middleware for the New Relic to detect and to analyze that process. And also Rundeck is separated server, so you can run. Just run the Rundeck server, and you can use. Okay, so it's over. It's over on my talk. Will SOA be silver bullet? No. I would say no. There's a lot of goodies, separated responsibilities. Each services don't think about so much for the another things, and you can integrate each services. You don't have to integrate one monolithic servers. So you can change and deploy each services, each function. So it's really easy. And it's really good for the integrate rapidly. And you can scale flexibly. Of course, each services are separated. You can set the size of the scaling for each functions, each services. So, but as I talked, there are a lot of servers. So you need to easy creating and handy testing and automated deploying and relief monitoring. So this is our case study, and I talked about a lot of things, or most of things of our experience. But what should we next? I think we need create servers using the asynchronous, and I want more nicer container platform. Elastic Beanstalk is good enough, but it's not so our dream. So thank you very much for listening and for this nice event. Thank you.
清原さんどうもありがとうございました。少しお時間がありますので、ご質問を受け付けたいと思います。ご質問のある方はいらっしゃいますでしょうか。
Hi, thank you for your talk. You mentioned some downsides, some disadvantages to the SOA microservices architecture. What kinds of things have you done to reduce the risk or counter some of those disadvantages in your experience?
So for example, you mean my way to avoid the disadvantages, right? So thank you. Thank you for your question. And we use that tools, for example, New Relic or monitoring the Sentry, or by using the Rundeck and so on. So it's really easy to monitor. And for example, you have a lot of servers. You can't log into the SSH and check the log files and so on. But if you use the New Relic or Sentry also, you can avoid these disadvantages, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. 他に質問のある方いらっしゃいますか？ Okay. Please wait.
Hi. What do you use for the microservices itself? Is it another small framework like Falcon, or do you use also like small instances of Django?
Sorry. Your question for me using whiskey servers?
No, the microservices itself. You have like on the gateway you have Django-REST framework, right?
Yes, Django-REST framework.
And it connects to other microservices. What do you use for them?
Using the Docker also?
No.
No, sorry. I'm sorry, I can't listen your English, so please meet me after this session and work 何でしたっけ？
Thank you very much.
お日サーバー？
はい。
Hello, thanks for the talk.
Hi.
I saw that you're using Django REST framework for making your microservices, and I'm not really a Django expert, but I thought of Django as more of a framework for building websites. And I know there's a lot of new frameworks for Python, things like Flask, which call themselves micro frameworks. I was just wondering if you have any experience using other frameworks to build RESTful web APIs, and what your experiences are with that.
another frameworks
Yeah.
of my experience.
Yeah.
So on this, to create the Nikkei services, we use only the Django and Django REST framework. And sometimes I use a pyramid or some Botu to my hobby. But I recommend you to use Django because, as I said, there is a big community and easy to launch and easy to make the big services, difficult services easily. So honestly, I don't so much like the Flask and so on.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. 他に質問ございますでしょうか。はい、じゃあないようなので、これで、清原さんのトークを終了したいと思います。どうもありがとうございました。
Thank you very much.
大きな拍手でお願いいたします。会場から、次のスケジュールについてアナウンスいたします。これからランチの時間になりまして、ランチは1階で開催しています。で、混雑が予想されますので、ランチの時間に、同時間帯に4階の会議室で各コミュニティブースといって、各コミュニティのいろいろ紹介とかお話しできる機会を設けておりますので、ぜひ4階に行っていろんなコミュニティの方とお話をしてみてください。で、ランチは全員分ありますので、急がないで行っていただければきれいに回ると思います。で、コミュニティブースはもう一度ご連絡します。会議室4階の会議室2、3で各コミュニティがいろいろ準備して開催しておりますので、ぜひご参加ください。あと、午後から4階の会議室をオープンスペースとして開放しています。3階のインフォメーションのところにホワイトボードがありますので、自由にご活用いただけますので、ぜひご活用ください。以上です。